So rejection is something that seems like a really terrible thing to experience, because I know when I've experienced rejection, which I have many, many times, by the way, many times, the feeling is always like as though there was something wrong with me. I wasn't good enough for something. I wasn't good enough. I'm not good enough, which triggered a deep sense of unworthiness. So I'm here to talk about rejection right now and why rejection actually makes you stronger. Rejection makes you stronger if you're willing to see it from a spiritual perspective. Now, on one hand, before I started working on my mind and my heart with God, I took rejection really hard. I've been rejected by obviously romantic partners or potential romantic partners. I've been rejected by jobs. I've been rejected by friends. I've been rejected by people that I hoped a certain kind of relationship with. And I didn't realize what was really going on in the power dynamic with that, but there's like a power play, it seems, with rejecting, especially someone like me, where I felt I had a lot to offer. I had so much I was bringing to relationships or to any situation. And it left me with a feeling of despair and hopelessness in those times where I seemed to experience rejection. But A Course in Miracles is really good at... A Course in Miracles, by the way, is a spiritual mind training, is what it is. That's what it is. It's spiritual mind training, which helps you shift your focus from a thought system based on fear to a thought system that is based on love. And I happen to talk about miracles on this channel. That's why it's called One Mind Miracles with Quana. And so the reason rejection experiences are actually miraculous is because if you're willing to sit and look at those situations that seem to occur, that seem to blow up in your face, or somebody or something rejects you. There's a term that a spiritual teacher of mine years ago said, that rejection is protection. Another take on that term is rejection is redirection. Now think about that for a moment. If you are willing to accept that you have a divine teacher, a divine presence who's monitoring and ready to guide your life, after you're willing to hand everything over to it, when something like rejection seems to happen, it's really there to redirect you. It's there to show you this is not where you need to be. Whether it's the people, the places, the circumstances are not for you. Meaning that if you were engaged with that circumstance, even though you might want it, if you were to engage with that circumstance, God knows that it would ultimately destroy you. And once you give your life over to God, there's no going back. Once you start praying to God and asking for help, asking for guidance, and you've had enough of pain and suffering, right? You've had enough, and you finally get on your knees and say, okay, God, I'm tired of this. Please take everything. You decide everything now in my life. Once you do that, there's no going back. And God will step in and stop you from being in certain situations or certain environments and certain relationships. Believe me, I've been there. I have been brutally, unceremoniously rejected many times. And it was indeed very painful and very hurtful at the time. But I knew that I could not allow that to destroy me. That I could not allow, there was something in me that after I went through the feelings about it and had to face whatever I was feeling and believing about myself, I knew there was something in me that said, get up, rise up. And that is the power of God within you, the love of God within you. And I knew that I could not allow this one thing or person to destroy who I know I am to be, who God has created me to be. And so after years of going through these patterns and then giving my life over to God and then seeing how God would remove certain people or events or circumstances away from me or prompt me to step away. Because sometimes the worst rejection is not necessarily when someone just says they don't want to, say in a relationship. Sometimes the worst kind of rejection, and I've experienced this, are those that remain physically because they want access to you somehow, but have emotionally rejected you, emotionally left the building. They're just around for a sense of obligation or familiarity or some kind of exchange that they believe should be between you, or because they appreciate aspects of you because of how it benefits them. That is not a real relationship, and that is not love. But that is almost the worst kind of rejection. But any form of rejection, no matter what it is really God saying to you, will you listen to me? This is not who you are. And I didn't make you to feel rejected. You cannot be rejected because God is the real authority. And we have to, I know I did, I had to reach a point where I'm willing to accept, I will only accept God's decision about me and no one else. No one else's. And looking back on it now, those situations that I have experienced, that seem to reject me, now that I know why it happened, now that I know that it was from God, that God was not only saving me from a destructive situation, but had something much better in mind for me that I could ever have imagined on my own, that is where my strength comes in. And also that I survived it. Not in the typical sense of survival, but that I rose up, because we know that when we experience these things in this world, this pain and the suffering, and we rise up through the strength and love and power of God within us, we are unstoppable and we are indestructible. So welcome rejection. I'm not saying, it's a picnic, but I'm trying to present an idea for you so you can look at this idea of rejection completely differently. And if you fear rejection, don't fear it. Recognize it for what it is. And realize that's part of the process of you rising to what God needs you to be. And that can be in any form of what God will have you do in this world. Through your artistry or through your job, through relationships, through everything you're doing every day, and any inner nudgings you have about projects or work or what you really are meant to do and be. You know what it is inside. That is the life you're supposed to be living for God, for the purposes of God, which is love, which is shining your light, shining the light of God through you. That is your job. Switch your focus from getting approval from the world and from people who cannot, or situations that aren't for you, to God's view of you. And that takes work. It does. You have to do the work. But while you're doing the work, you can see it correctly. And that's why I'm here, is to help those who have experienced these things and need to hear my testimony, need to hear my stories, need to hear the wisdom that God is putting through me. So leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't, and again, rejection makes you stronger.